I'm going to make sure that I, you know, do everything right in this race and get the result that me and the team deserve. I think it's just a matter of putting it together, and we've got the speed, and yeah, it's going to be a good race.
There's not much. We haven't made many changes, so I just got to push a little bit harder, I think a little bit earlier, and you know, we should be able to hopefully get the gap we need and get us to the end. It's a long championship, still a lot to go though, so race finishes are very important at this stage.
And so are championship points, and that's what Wayne Maxwell needs as we get set for this final race of the weekend, the Viking Group Australian Superbike Championship, Race 2, Round 2, and Jamie Stouffer and Wayne Maxwell on the front row of the grid, along with our Race 1 winner, Josh Waters, Glenn Allerton, the championship leader. Road 2, remember, Troy Herfoss, Ben Attard, Robbie Bugden, Craig Cox all set for a start. Riders look for the green light at Symmons Plains. Away we go. The two Hondas from the two separate sides of the front row of the grid sweep to the front. It's Wayne Maxwell who leads the way. Jamie Stouffer second. Glenn Allerton slots in a third. And that BMW, Kev, we've actually found out what was going on with the brakes in that first race. He was actually spinning the front brake lever adjustment the wrong way.
That'll do it every time. He's obviously got it the right way now, having a look down the inside of Jamie Stouffer. Maxwell hard on the brakes, made perfect race starts today. He's the one determined. He lost all those championship points in round 1 at Phillip Island. Now he's got to do the chasing for the rest of the season on the points table.
Remember too that this championship, there's a range of standalone meetings. There's also events where the superbikes will race alongside the V8 supercars on 3 occasions this year. Allerton now lunging for second place. So with that brake drama solved, expect this BMW to fly. Carlton Dry replay shows the move at the penultimate turn.
Yeah, Allerton, real nice clean move. Early laps up there. Heavy fuel load at this point, so got to be very wary of that. Pushing hard on the front end under brakes. Now that he's got that sorted out, he's out after Wayne Maxwell, who leads this race so far. Started the second lap, hard on the power down the straight to the very slow Honda hairpin. Josh Waters there in 4th place. He's not out of it.
Oh, Troy Herfoss trying desperately to stop the Suzuki.
Desperate, that was madness. He was both sides.
And he made it around the corner.
And stayed in front.
Good job from the Super Sport champ. Still finding his feet on the superbike, but showing really great, promising signs as Allerton is showing signs. This BMW wants to get to the lead.
Stouffer looking on there. Waters not in a hurry, still settling into the Dunlop control tyre from last week's Pirellis in the World Superbike race, Phillip Island. Maxwell doing it the way it needs to be done out front. Swings in, skates it across the top of the hump and off the back of that. Nice and tidy through the double left.
And attack's the only way that Maxwell could get himself back into the championship game. Remember, he had a retirement from race 2 at Phillip Island where he had a water leak, and he's 10th in the championship coming into this weekend. The only way that he can get back up to the front is to win races. He can't purely be consistent and pick up good regular points. He needs to pick up maximum points.
That's exactly right, and that's what he's trying to do. Allerton and his teammate are going to try to have something to say about that in the coming laps. Waters and Herfoss on the Suzukis, not out of it by any stretch. Ben Attard on the Aprilia trying to catch the lead bunch. Not far to go and plenty of time to do it for Attard and co.
Allerton, remember, winner of the first round, winner of the last round last year here at Symmons Plains. So he's going for 3 in a row. Remember, the champ of the Australian Superbike Series in 2008. So knows how to do it, but then he did it on a Honda. He's on a BMW in just its 2nd meeting in the 2nd straight weekend. And this was a deal that was put together very, very late.
It seems like that worked good for Brian Starring last year. It might have been a purposeful move. Stouffer has a look up the inside, but Allerton's so hard and late on the brakes. Positions remain the same. Still Maxwell in control at the front.
Josh Waters, 4th spot for Team Suzuki, and of course, did such a great job for the Yoshimura team last weekend at Phillip Island, and he's going to get another go. They're going to invite him back for a round of the World Superbike Series later in the year at Miller Motorsport Park in Utah in the United States, and that's a big pat on the back.
It is, and it's great to see the wildcards getting a go back in World Superbikes like it used to be many years ago, and that race is at the end of June, so it'll be good to see Josh and see how he goes over there, and it looks like a track that he'll love with his flowing style too.
Still Team Honda racing 1-3. They're still developing. No doubt over 1 lap though. These bikes have been really strong. We've seen that here this weekend. The race pace is the next box that they need to tick.
Yeah, Allerton real hard on the brakes, back wheel in the air. Maxwell just as hard. Got just that little bit of a gap. Now, that's a gap that's going to really annoy Glenn Allerton because he can't go with him just quite. It's only like a couple of tenths of a second, but that just annoys you. Runs that wider line around through the fast right-hand sweeper, sets up, looks up the inside, bit far back at the moment, so comes back to the outside for a big long swoop through the long left-handers. Jamie Stouffer still sitting right on his tail in third place, starting to have a look like he wants to go up and play with his Maxwell, his teammate.
And that's the thing with Allerton. Remember, he is the only BMW rider in the field. He doesn't have a teammate, he doesn't have any help, he doesn't have any assistance, and he's got a Honda in front and a Honda behind.
Yeah, Josh Waters keeping his eye on the lead bunch. Herfoss just trying to bridge that little bit of a gap. Broken away from Ben Attard, so he's safe from behind. He can concentrate all his energies on trying to catch his teammate Josh Waters in fourth place, right behind the onboard shots from Jamie Stouffer's bike.
Top three just managed to kick clear of the pair of Suzukis. Of course, Maxwell is still looking for that breakthrough in the championship. Runner-up last year to Brian Starring, and of course Starring clinched the championship here at this very circuit in November last year. And Maxwell really has to have a massive end to this year to get his way back into the championship picture. We start lap 7. Remember, another 20-lapper in this second race of the weekend.
Just watch next lap when Allerton comes over that right-hand crest and drops it into the apex. He's been getting a little bit out of shape with the twitch through there, so that could be a danger area for Allerton because he's on a really tight line and there's a bump there, and he seems to be getting it the last 3 laps.
I mentioned about Maxwell being runner-up last year. Of this leading group of 3, he's the only one who hasn't won this championship. As a guy who's been there and done it, when you get that breakthrough, when you finally win what you've been aiming at for so long, does it open the floodgates? Does it make you believe you can do it? Yeah, it does. It ticks that box. Plus, it also has the reverse effect of putting a bit of pressure on because you know you've done it once, you want to do it again. And that pressure can be useful or it can be harmful. In this case, with Maxwell getting a bad start points-wise because of that mechanical breakdown at Phillip Island, that puts him under the pump, and I think that's good for Maxwell because he'll respond to that during the course of the season. Quick shot there of Troy Herfoss on bike 17, the 24-year-old from Goulburn in New South Wales, sticking right with Josh Waters, of course a former Superbike champion 09, and again we see Maxwell with that left foot off the peg and just out for balance and stability into the hairpin. Maxwell still leads him. Allerton second, Stouffer third, Josh Waters there in fourth, still close enough for an attack, as well as Troy Herfoss in fifth. And Allerton's looked really strong down here at the penultimate turn. There's no doubt this BMW has got some really good pace. Surely there's got to be some other teams and some other interested onlookers who are looking at this bike and seeing what it's capable of doing. It's got to be an option. As you can see there, Allerton just bounced it sideways across the hump and then through that bump on a slightly wider line, which didn't affect him and upset him as much as the previous 3 laps. And the BMW is a good thing. There's definitely going to be more of them about as time goes on. Still relatively new, but Glenn Allerton's proven exactly how good these things are. Not very highly modified compared to the bikes around him either, the BMW, so a very good piece of kit with a few minor parts on it. And the next round of the championship takes us up to Hidden Valley Raceway in Darwin in the Northern Territory for another great trip to the top end, where that long straight at 1.1 kilometres will be something that BMW will really enjoy. It'll definitely love it up there, no doubt. And Allerton, you've got to give him credit for the way he rides it. There's absolutely nothing left. He's screwing everything out of that he can. You can see there when it comes back into line and hits that bump at the same time, just gets him out of shape and upsets him a little bit. Doesn't seem to cost him any time, but it must be a little bit of a nervous moment for him when Maxwell gets through there nice and smooth, as do the other riders. The run back to Honda corner at the hairpin. That is Ben Henry going off through the gravel, pops back out the other side down at turn 2. A shake of the head, a bit of disappointment, but we'll at least get back onto the road. But back to the front, Maxwell hanging on. Allerton now, it's about go time really at this point of the race. He's definitely trying hard and he's trying to pressurise Maxwell into a mistake, but I really don't think that's going to work because Wayne Maxwell's so focused because of that
mishap at Phillip Island and the lack of points towards the championship. So Maxwell's just getting everything absolutely spot on. And when a rider's doing that, it's very hard to find somewhere to pass, execute the pass, and make it stick on top of that.
They've just managed to drop away the Suzukis by a small margin, but both Waters and Herfoss are hanging tough at the moment.
They're going with them, but still Maxwell got them under control. Stouffer's there. Plenty of time yet. My bet is Allerton's best chance. He's going to have a look down the inside into this next set of left-handers. That's what he seems like he's been looking for with his line through that sweeper.
Remember too, though, that Jamie Stauffer on the second of the Team Honda Racing entries from Paul Free's team is right there with the BMW. So one false move and it'll be a 1-2 for Honda. We jump aboard with the former two-time champ. Love the elevation here over the hump.
That's that bump I was talking about, and we just saw on board Allerton go through it. Wasn't too bad that time, probably better than the previous 4 or 5 laps. Allerton is hard at it, but Maxwell's getting everything right. He's not missing a 10th out of each and every lap. Allerton up the inside every time on the brakes, looking for any chance, then back to the outside for a good entry into the very tight hairpin. Stauffer there, nice tight exit, trying to get the drive, get up on the fat part of the tyre and get more drive. Still wheeling in 4th gear on the run out to the sweeper. Allerton maybe a bit better off this time. Stauffer even better off. I think that's the closest they've been so far through there.
Definitely Allerton had the BMW hooked up a little bit better off the hairpin, but at the other end of the straight, Maxwell's got enough to hang on. And really, everyone's just trying to figure out where they need to be. Everyone's pushing to the limit, but you can't help but think that BMW has just been sneaking up on things. He's been showing his nose, 7 to go. We start lap 13. Remember, it's a 20-lap race here at Symmons Plains.
Josh Waters drifted off for a little bit there, a couple of laps on the Suzuki, but he's right back on the case now. Dropped Herfoss off a little bit in 5th, but Troy's still doing a very good job in 5th place amongst the calibre in his first Superbike year, Australian Superbike Championship year on the Phil Taton Suzuki.
And you have to look at too, the fastest lap times for Maxwell and Stauffer and Waters were all 53.7, varying decimal places between them, but very, very even on pace in the mid part of the race. But let's see if they can keep that same sort of speed for the run home.
Tyres look like they're standing up pretty well. The Dunlop N-Tech's not getting out of shape too much for the riders. Allerton a little bit sideways through that last apex of the left-hander, and as usual, a little bit skatey under brakes in the rear across the top of that crest into the first right-hander. And
you mentioned too that N-Tech Dunlop tyre. We saw a new lap record in race 1. Josh Waters' fastest time was a 53.475. And pole position, remember, from Wayne Maxwell was a 53.7. That was, of course, set, though, in the one-lap super pole session. But the Victorian-based Honda rider continues to lead the way, which he's done from the start of this one. But Allerton is still stalking that Honda.
Scratching his head, I guess, trying to work out how he's going to get him again. Looks so tempting up the inside, but you know it's going to close off. Maxwell's going to drift it out, pull it back in and drive underneath him before that second apex right there.
And you've got guys in very different parts of the championship picture, even though we're only at the second round, which is still very early. 5 laps to go. But as we mentioned, Maxwell's desperately trying to get himself back in the championship fight. Glenn Allerton's leading the way and has a very nice championship that's coming together. Here's Craig Coxell on board the Demolition Plus Gas Honda. Running a bit further back in the pack, finished up in race 1 in position 8 and having a good fight here with Ben Attard, who's back down the inside on the Aprilia.
Robbie Bugden between them and the lead bunch, and Attard shoves Coxell out a little bit wide. Coxell won't be happy with that. Fair enough too.
Here's the move. Glenn Allerton has been trying this move all race. He's got it done. He's taken the lead from Wayne Maxwell.
Looks like he's made it stick too, a little bit wide through that second apex. All the other riders, Allerton had to be really careful about that because Jamie Stauffer was ready to jump all over him should he make a little bit of a mistake.
Now the question is, he's got clear air, can Allerton kick away, and can the BMW take its 3rd race win and its 2nd round win of the year?
Watch Maxwell try hard to get him back as soon as he can here. Stauffer tempted down the inside, not going to have a go this time. Maxwell real hard on the brakes. Allerton a bit of a gap so far. Now Maxwell's got to settle with that. That can typically happen when a rider passes you. It upsets your rhythm and you lose that initial bit. Good job by the lap rider running around the outside of the sweeper on the right white line. So good work from him. So now Maxwell's got to work hard and pull those tents back as soon as possible and get back on the attack at Allerton.
And not only does it put Allerton into the lead for the race, but it also sets him up and puts him clear by a point of Josh Waters for the round win, who of course sits in position 4 now. We talked about how he would go if he got some clear air. He's just set a new fastest lap of the race. It's a 53.492 for Glenn Allerton, and you can see the margin he's pulling on Maxwell.
Herfoss coming back up to the back of Josh Waters, his teammate in 4th place. Then just a slight gap to Jamie Stouffer in 3rd. Maxwell just in front of him. Allerton a little bit deep and wide into the Honda hairpin, so that'll create a great opportunity for Maxwell, and he'll grab that with both hands. You can see he's already closed the gap a little bit, probably about 3/10 he closed in that mistake from Allerton.
It's got to be frustrating for Maxwell. He's led the way, he's been fast all weekend, but now when it really matters, the BMW's just got a bit too much.
And Glenn Allerton too. He's got his head down, he's trying to get away, keep that gap. He'll be getting a bit more than +0 on his pit board, and that will mean that Wayne Maxwell's not all over the back of him. Most of these riders hardly ever look over their shoulder. They just get the information off the pit board that's hung over pit wall.
Quite often people will say, how on earth can you read those pit boards with small numbers and small decimal points and the like? It's got to be difficult racing past that quickly.
Yeah, you start looking at them way back. Maxwell looked like he got in a little bit deep and out a little bit wide. Will have lost a little bit of speed.
Carlton Dry replay, and this is Maxwell. We've seen it all race, that left foot out. It's got to be a bit disconcerting to some of the other riders. He's the only guy who does it. What's the benefit there?
He had it out further than I've seen him all race, and that was because he was trying to stop more. You put it up. One, it creates a bit of an interference with the draft and creates slight low pressure on the inside of the bike on the way into the corner, so that helps you turn. You also push harder on your other leg, which is the right one in this case, which helps push the rear out to get the tail out a bit and point the bike in to the corner. So there's numerous effects that it has. It kind of looks a bit weird, but it works and helps him pull it up and get the thing around the turn.
The biggest pressure for him, though, is coming from Jamie Stouffer on board, the second of the Team Honda Racing entries. And remember that Stouffer finished 5th in race 1. They just look to be lacking just the small parts at the moment, Team Honda Racing, but they're not too far away from the mark. Yeah,
Allerton getting away a little bit more on that lap, and Maxwell through the hairpin that time looked a lot tighter and looked like he had a lot swifter exit out and off Honda hairpin. Allerton's still got him covered by enough of a margin. He'll be happy with that when he gets to read his pit board. You start looking at it way back there on the exit of that last turn, so that that's how you do get the information down and read what they've got for you. Hopefully it's all good news.
Well, there won't be a lap board waiting next time by. It'll be the checkered flag. It's the final lap in the second race of round 2 of the Viking Group Australian Superbike Championship. And Glenn Allerton, the BMW, for the second consecutive weekend, has got his way to the front, and he's on his way home now. Final run through Honda Corner at the hairpin. And it's a fight for the minors between Maxwell and Stouffer. Josh Waters, the race 1 winner, has had enough to go with the Hondas, but not enough to do anything about them.
Yeah, he can just hang there. He just can't get onto the back of Stouffer and Maxwell. But Allerton, clear leader now, he'll know that. And is Stouffer going to have a go at his teammate and stick it into him in between these two left-handers?
Well, out in front, though, it will be another BMW win. Glenn Allerton aces them at Symmons Plains. He takes race 2, and by virtue of that win, that's enough for him to take round 2 in the championship. Recapping the results for you, the Honda pilots, Maxwell and Stouffer, 2nd and 3rd. The Suzuki boys, Josh Waters, Troy Herfoss and Robbie Vugden were next. Van Attard in 7th. Great ride 2 from Chris McLaren. The privateer on the Honda rounded out the top 8 in the final race of the weekend.
It was a good result for the team over the weekend.
Yeah, it was. We're moving further forward, that's for sure. And each time we get out on the bike, we're improving it. But this is always going to be a hard track for us. But like Glenn's really good here, so we'll go away and see how we go at Darwin.
Wayne, Very hectic racing here at Symmons Plains over the entire weekend. You scored pole position, a great result in the first race. Second, a good result in the second one?
Not really, mate. We've been working away. We've got a few problems, but I'm pretty disappointed, really. So, but you know, it's a long way to go. You know, it's a strong track for Glenn here. Not very strong for me. It's probably my best result here ever on the Superbike. So we'll regroup and push on and try to get things back where we need them to be. Race winner in the second round, or the second race, our round winner overall. It's 2 rounds in a row that you've been the round winner, Glenn. You can't get that smile off your face, and that's when you're most dangerous, I've found, over the last few years.
Yeah, you know, I'm feeling really good, very comfortable. We're going to go to Darwin with a pretty good points lead, and, you know, I'm looking to try and develop the BMW a little bit more, and with the help of the team, I think we can make the bike a little bit better in a few areas, and we're going to be very strong. Quick word about second place. Of course, second place in the round. Looked like you were trying to emulate the performance from this morning, just couldn't quite get onto the back of them to try and mount an attack on the back of Jamie's machine.
Yeah, great race. You know, these boys were riding fantastic. So big thank you to Team Suzuki. Just in that last race, didn't have it. So I'll just try harder for Darwin. I really like the circuit, so I head down for that one.
So 2 rounds down and 2 round victories in the Viking Group Australian Superbike Championship to Glenn Allerton. The BMW rider leads by 23 points over Troy Herfoss. The Team Honda racing duo of Jamie Stouffer and Wayne Maxwell sandwiched the Aprilia of Ben Attard. Craig Coxell 6th from Robbie Bugden, and Cole Oldendal rounds out the top 8.
Well, that wraps up another huge round of Superbike and Supersport action here from Symmons Plains. The series heads north to Darwin's Hidden Valley Circuit for round 3, and you can catch all the action right here on Speed on Sunday, May 1st. In the meantime, to keep up to date with all the latest in the championship, head to asbk.com.au. Well, thanks to Aaron, Kevin and the whole crew. We'll see you next time. Go!
QBE presents the Viking Group Australian Superbike Championship, proudly brought to you by Motul and International Entertainment Group.